This is the third object discovered beyond the solar system, moving towards us. The signal came from a deep space observatory in Chile, consisting of a line of code that made no sense. The object was named Three-Eyed Atlas. This interstellar guest, thought to be moving on a predictable trajectory, has just performed the impossible maneuver. It has defied the laws of gravity. Now all the major telescopes of the planet are turning to track it, and a terrifying new trajectory has been calculated. His path coincides with the plane of the planet's orbits around the Sun. The probability of such a coincidence is 1 in 500, and the timing of his arrival in the inner solar system is very precise. The data confirms our worst fears. An object the size of Manhattan is no longer a scientific curiosity. It is an incoming threat, and the scientists who discovered its new path are now in horror. The object has broken the rules. In the vast silent theater of space, a new actor has taken the stage. It was first detected by the Early Warning System for Asteroid Ground Strikes, or ATLAS, in Hawaii. It was a faint spot of light moving against the distant stars. Its designation was technical, almost boring. Three-Eyed Atlas. Three eyes meant that it had become only the third interstellar object ever discovered, but this was no ordinary guest. As astronomers gathered more data, an astonishing picture began to emerge. The first thing that stood out about the Three-Eyed Atlas was its colossal size. Initial brightness calculations indicated that if this was a solid, rocky object, its diameter should be at least 12 miles. This stone is larger than Manhattan Island, racing through the void. In comparison, the previous two interstellar visitors, including the famous Oumuamua, were hundreds of times smaller, barely reaching the size of a city block. The probability that such a massive object would randomly appear in the tiny time window we observed is astronomically low. Statistically, we should expect to see a stone of this size in our area once every 10,000 years, or perhaps even less frequently. So the discovery of this third object was, to put it mildly, suspicious. The official explanation was simple. It was a massive ancient comet, a frozen relic from the birth of another star system thousands of millennia ago. NASA quickly issued a statement calling it a comet, reassuring the public that it posed no threat and would remain more than 150 million miles away. But it's not that simple. Many people tend to accept simple explanations, but the universe is rarely straightforward. Leading scientists, such as the famous astrophysicist from Harvard, Avi Loeb, pointed out serious flaws in the official version. Firstly, the Three-Eyed Atlas did not have a comet tail. When a comet approaches the sun, its ice must heat up, creating a bright tail of gas and dust stretching for millions of miles. The Hubble, the most powerful space telescope ever built, was aimed at the object. Its high-resolution images did not show the tail. Instead, something even stranger was noticed, a faint, ethereal glow that seemed to precede the object and move toward the sun. It was unprecedented, a unique characteristic that did not match the profile of any previously observed comet. The object was also moving at an astonishing speed, 41 miles per second, twice as fast as the fastest rocket ever launched by humanity. The story began to unravel, and new data arrived. Routine observations from the observatory in the Andes recorded a tiny, almost imperceptible change in its trajectory. The deviation was so minor that it was initially dismissed as an error, but then another observatory in Australia confirmed it, and yet another. The new data was irrefutable. The 13th eye of Atlas no longer followed the predicted course. It moved. Something altered the trajectory of an object the size of Manhattan in deep space. Collision course. No one speaks of the fact that orbital mechanics is a science of beautiful and ruthless precision. Objects in space follow paths determined by gravity and nothing else. They do not make sharp turns. They do not accelerate on their own. They follow elegant curved lines carved in the space-time continuum by massive bodies like our sun. But the 13th eye of Atlas did not obey these rules. Even before the emergence of new data, its trajectory was strangely perfect. Its path was almost impeccably aligned with the plane of the ecliptic, a flat disk on which all the planets of our solar system revolve. The probability of an interstellar object being in such perfect alignment by chance is only 1 in 500, as if it intentionally moved along the main street of our solar system, which was also perfectly designed for a grand tour. His route was designed to pass unusually close to Jupiter, Mars, and Venus, a space tourist visiting all the main attractions. The probability of a random trajectory allowing such a close flyby of several planets is 1 in 20,000. This was, by all measures, a statistical impossibility. He was also moving in a retrograde orbit, meaning he was moving in the opposite direction to all the planets. For a spacecraft wishing to deploy smaller probes, this was the perfect approach. It maximizes relative speed and facilitates orbital insertion. Evidence of intelligent design was circumstantial but accumulated in a mountain of anomalies. Then new data confirmed what some scientists secretly feared. A small deviation was not random. It was a controlled non-gravitational acceleration. Engine burn. It was not a soft, unpredictable gas ejection of a comet. It was a deliberate course correction. The world's space agencies repeatedly checked the data, their supercomputers working around the clock, but the result remained unchanged. The new trajectory was clear. Atlas's 13th eye had altered its course from a flyby of the solar system to a direct intercept. His new direction became the Earth-Moon system. Silent panic began to engulf the global scientific community. NASA's official version that it was a harmless comet turned out to be a dangerous lie. It was not a visitor, but something greater. It was an arrival. The question was no longer whether it was an artificial object, but why it suddenly changed course towards our planet. Scientists were in a state of official horror. The object was not just on an impossible trajectory, it was on a collision course. 41 miles per second. While the world slept, immersed in soothing press releases about a distant comet, a hidden, undeclared war was waged in encrypted chats and secure video conferences. Conversations shifted from astronomical observatories to places like the U.S. Space Command and the Pentagon. New data confirmed by military satellites changed everything. The public saw old, soothing images of a blurred dot. But in secret briefings, analysts examined something completely different. A dim glow preceding the object was now interpreted as weak, unnatural energy signatures. Not emissions from a comet, but clear signs of an energy field, possibly a shield or exotic propulsion. The theoretical scale of Leb, ranging from 0 for a purely natural object to 10 for a confirmed technological one, was no longer just a theoretical experiment. It was a metric used in real time by intelligence agencies. In just a few days, the object named 3I Atlas rose from level 4 to 7, and that was not the limit. 7 indicated a high probability of technological origin with evidence of maneuvering. The horror among the scientists was caused not only by the potential collision but also by the intelligence behind this object. The object, moving at a speed of 41 miles per second, was a cosmic bullet. Our planetary defense systems, designed to track slowly moving asteroids years in advance, proved useless. There was no rocket we could launch, no weapon capable of intercepting something moving at such speed and with such little warning. Humanity was a pedestrian standing in the middle of a highway, silently facing a 12-mile-wide truck speeding towards it. Desperate attempts were made to learn more. The James Webb Telescope was urgently recalibrated. Scheduled observations of distant galaxies were canceled. Every radio telescope on the planet, from the successors of Arecibo to the giant arrays in China, began coordinated efforts to listen. They directed their huge antennas at the approaching anomalous object, scanning every frequency, hoping for a signal, a whisper, or any sign of communication that could explain its terrifying intentions. But all they heard was the cold, empty static noise of the void. Silence in many ways was more frightening than the threat. It was the silence of a predator that had no need to announce its presence. The silence was deafening, and the world was completely unaware of the danger. What does it want? Let's take a step back and talk like ordinary people. Throughout our history, we have looked at the stars and wondered if we are alone in the universe. We have always assumed that the answer would come in the form of a friendly radio signal, a cosmic greeting. But we were never prepared for the response to be an object 12 miles wide, which had just turned and was moving straight towards us. For decades, many had believed that we were the pinnacle of intelligence in the universe. Such arrogance now seems almost suicidal, doesn't it? Our entire species, with all our wars, politics, and dramas, exists on a fragile blue sphere. And now, we have received a warning signal from space. Now we know what it consists of. No one tells you that during the intense secret data processing of the James Webb Telescope, scientists did more than just confirm its trajectory. They conducted a spectrographic analysis, dissecting sunlight reflecting off its surface. The results were not just impossible. They were horrific. The object is not made of stone or ice. Its surface is a crystalline metal alloy that has no place in the natural universe. It possesses a strength millions of times greater than anything we can create. Unlike simple nickel iron found in asteroids, this material appears to be a metamaterial that actively reconfigures at the quantum level to dissipate heat and radiation. Terrifyingly, analysts turn to weak data about our first interstellar visitor, Oumuamua. Signals once dismissed as sensor noise revealed a faint but identical spectrographic signature. This is not just one object. It is known technology, the calling card of a silent and incredibly advanced civilization. This discovery only deepens the central question. What do they want? A civilization capable of creating entire city-sized objects from impossible materials, likely billions of years older than us. If they wanted to harm us, they wouldn't need a giant stone. They could send something small, biological, or something we can't even imagine. Is this a message or perhaps a delivery? What if the goal is not to collide with Earth, but to enter a stable orbit, to park an object the size of Manhattan in our sky, a constant silent moon that would shatter our society, our religions, and our notion of place in the universe? Then the theories become even more insane. Some insiders whisper about a scenario of cosmic evacuation. What if this is not an invasion, but a rescue? A desperate final act of civilization escaping from a dying sun? They are not conquerors. They are refugees, searching for the only viable lifeboat, which we are already in. A dark theory suggests that this object is a terraformer, a planet killer, and world creator in one. An automated machine designed for methodically cleansing the planet of its native biology and reshaping it for its masters. In this scenario, we are not even the enemy. We are merely parasites, a microbial layer to be removed before the real work begins. Another strange idea gaining popularity is that this is our final exam. Its arrival is a test for the Great Filter, a cosmic barrier that prevents civilizations from advancing to a galactic level. Our reaction, whether we unite in the world, plunge into chaos, or attack with our primitive weapons, is evaluated. If we surrender, we may be welcomed. If not, we may be deemed too dangerous and erased from the cosmic tree. Perhaps the deepest theory is that of the cosmic gardener. What if an ancient mind planted life on Earth millions of years ago, and the three-eyed Atlas is just a tool of this mind, returned to check on its garden? He did not come to harm us, but to observe or perhaps to present a catalyst that will accelerate our evolution. But these are just theories. The most immediate and frightening possibility remains the simplest. Perhaps the object itself is just a transport. What if his goal is to approach Earth and release his cargo? A fleet of smaller, faster probes? As some have suggested, the original trajectory, which seemed to avoid us, now looks like a calculated deception. He passed by the outer planets, possibly collecting data, and only when he had a clear final course to the inner solar system did he reveal his true intentions. He waited until he was too close for us to do anything. All scientific disputes are now over. Speculations about his motives are just noise. New data has brought us one cold, hard, and frightening truth. He is approaching, and we are not ready. Is this the end, or a violent new beginning for humanity? Is a silent, advanced mind coming to deliver judgment? Share your theories in the comments.